Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Mirror Mode playthrough. In this part we're going to be going into the Hyrule Cup, or Triforce Cup I think it's called, so let's play as Link. Because it's just fitting, and this is the most recent piece I unlocked from playing a little bit off screen. This is the Flame Rider. So I think I will use that. Link looks kind of out of place on it, but you know, it's a bit of an upgrade from Epona, so we'll roll with that. And let's see, what looks cool for this? Yes, we're using those. They look chunky and they look stupid and the colour doesn't even match, but fuck it. So with this, I haven't actually unlocked that many glider parts, so let's just use the standard cloud one. That's pretty basic, does the job. So yeah, we're on the Triforce Cup now, and we've got Wario's Gold Mine, Rainbow Road, Ice Outpost, and the Hyrule Circuit, of course. So let's get into it. Now, from the Wii version, we have Wario's Gold Mine. I was never that big on this course back on the Wii. I think they improved it a lot in the Wii U update of it on Mario Kart 8, and I'm curious to see how fucked over I'm going to get with this playing it in reverse, because this does have a few tricky turns and whatnot that I sort of managed to bluff my way through over time, back on the Wii U and back on 150cc, by just getting used to the course. But this is one of them courses I can tell already this feels completely different just by being in reverse. So yeah, I kind of don't want to do anything too stupid, and I've got to keep my eyes open a little bit more. I can't just, you know, rely on what I remember. But I have realised that it's these things having their sort of zero grav or anti-grav turn point things on the bottom of the carts that makes this so much more manageable than the Wii one, because back on Mario Kart Wii, if you bumped into one of them, you'd stop dead still, and it completely killed all the speed that you'd managed to build up until that point. So, having it just give you a speed boost rather than a speed crash, it's, you know, it's so much easier to work with. But these bats that fly out at you there, they're still annoying, so try not to bump into them, because they will still completely murder your speed. Which gets a little bit annoying, won't lie. And yeah, if you're wondering, the sudden spike in energy that I have, that's gonna get completely killed both from me driving into that pit and then getting blue shield, but you know, this is a new recording session, because I noticed I got a little bit sort of burnt out last time. I don't know, I just wasn't the most alive I've ever been in a recording session. That's why I've decided to stop at doing just 3 parts rather than finishing off the playthrough. But I reckon today I'm gonna get this finished. And today, when I'm recording this is actually the 23rd of December, so we're getting quite close to Christmas now. It's like the last day off you get before Christmas gets really obnoxious for me. But yeah, so I'm just enjoying the fact that I've got a little bit of time on my own to not have family interfering. You know, my mum and my brother have gone off to see the new Star Wars, so I get time alone to play video games for the internet. You know, I appreciate having this quiet time just to play video games for you all. Yeah, also, I'm looking at this now. I can't remember if I commented on this track particularly with how it looks, but this track does look really pretty in Mario Kart 8. More so in the Switch one, and it's just such a good looking course. It's a shame it was so wank in the Wii game that it sort of set bad expectations for me. But yeah, let's go on to the next race. And now for the third Rainbow Road that you can play in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And this one I mentioned earlier briefly, but this is, in my opinion, the weakest one. It's not actually a bad course at all. It is pretty faithful adaptation of the Super Nintendo course, from what I remember of that. It's just It's probably me bitching about this because it's hard, because, you know, you can see there's not really any safe zones. If you don't drift properly, then you're going flying off the edge. So it's a more difficult course than either of the other Rainbow Roads that you can play in this game. But yeah, I suppose it does also keep you on your toes a little bit more, so if you look at it that way, then it's kind of... it's got its own merits, it's got its own charms. Judging by that lap there, it's also quite a bit shorter than I remember. This is the thing, given I was never really that invested in the Super Nintendo Mario Kart, like I can't even remember if I did beat it or whether I just recognised this course from watching other people play it. But, like, because I don't have that experience with it, I suppose having the flipped version here isn't going to throw me off too much, and I swear I'm jinxing this for myself. Every time I sort of say something positive, I'm gonna have bullshit happen. Okay, I was maybe getting a little bit defensive there, trying to avoid the glowing thwomp, and ended up driving off into the pit like a complete moron, but yeah. I think the lighting is actually really good in this course, from what I can see. There's little general illumination tricks that I think are really nice. Like if you look at the coins up there, you can see all the colours reflecting off them, and it's just so well done. I've in recent times become quite the sucker for good video game lighting, because it's the sort of thing that I don't think a lot of people would tear a game apart for having not great lighting, but when it's done well, it really makes a difference. Like if you think of all the love that, say, Sonic Unleashed gets, and you know, it's the sort of thing that when it stands out, it really stands out. And then I compare it to Forces, where the lighting is like it actually has a better engine, but like it's just not utilised as well. So like, you know, it's one of the things that I do appreciate good lighting. And I'm rambling, so let's go on to the next race. This is probably one of the less memorable courses from the DLC, at least in my opinion. And again, it's not a bad course in any respect, but I think it's because it doesn't really seem that Mario themed as some of the other courses, or like even Nintendo themed, if you think like the F-Zero courses or the Zelda one. Like, I suppose you got the toads around the edges, but other than that, this could be like a track in any sort of cartoon racer. Like, it doesn't feel as over-the-top Mario-esque. Like, granted, a lot of the courses are kind of like that. They're not explicitly based on a Mario location or anything, but they've got that sort of feel to them that like they fit right in place with the Mario universe. Like this one, it just feels that little bit more generic, like it could go anywhere. But again, like the course layout and that is fine. You got some interesting things going on, like the higher layer and lower layer with some parts, and obviously they're the other way around in this particular version. That was dumb. Yeah, it's, I suppose also as well, it's a nice level that doesn't look quite as pretty as, say, like Sherbet Land or well, any of the other ice courses in Mario Kart, really. So it suffers a little bit from lacking in theming, and it suffers a little bit from relativity, in my opinion. Well, again, my opinion, take it as it is. I think the colouring is a little bit off as well. Like that turquoise, it feels like it's trying to do that thing where it's close to the ice blue, but without like actually being the ice blue. And I get the direction of that. Like, let's go up onto this path here. But I kind of think that if it was the same sort of icy blue as the like ice walls you see around the edges, it might have like fitted in a little bit better. And like I say, they were probably doing this intentionally to make it stand out, but I can't think with a nice level, part of the charm of ice aesthetics is that it's such a chill, freezing feeling that you want as much of the whites and the light blues as you can get. So maybe it would have been better if they just stuck with a more traditional ice colour scheme, like maybe white one side, blue the other. Yeah, that's that for that race, so let's go on to the next one. And of course, to finish up the Triforce Cup is Hyrule Circuit. And I remember last time I covered this course on the channel, I had much less Zelda experience than I do now, and it didn't really click with me that much. Like, I'm still novice as fuck when it comes to Zelda. Like, I'm still not overly invested in the series, but like recently I played through Zelda 1 to completion, like using a guide obviously, because I'm a scrub. I know it's the kind of game that it's built with a guide in mind, which is kind of my issue with Zelda 1 really, but like, yeah, I have actually played the game through in its entirety for myself, or at least the first quest. Like, I haven't bothered with the second quest. It's one of them that I didn't really have that positive of an experience with it, but I kind of feel like it was one of them games I had to play just so I can say I did. And it has also, like, I've gained, I guess, a kind of respect for the game, even if it's not a game that I necessarily like. And I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, but I can get what they were going for in, like, it's an open world, and you're gonna go around and, you know, it's very non-linear, so there's like an appeal to finding the ideal routes, picking up items that will help you just in time for each dungeon and that. But I think where it suffers is possibly a lot of it from the localization, because like a lot of the things that are meant to be hints to kind of tip you off where to go very like ambiguous. Like, it's hard to make out the point that the hint is actually trying to make when you like find the old man caves and that. And so it's not so much a case of you can like figure it out on your own. You can figure out optimal routes and you can work out what items you're going to need for what dungeon, like by following the hints and just using your brain a little bit. It's the sort of thing where it's very much designed in a way that you kind of need to be cross-referencing a guide. And some people are okay with that, and I can understand that. It's just a thing, I've never really been that good at cross-referencing guides when I'm playing a game. I much prefer games where I can just work things out for myself and like maybe use the guide as a last resort if I'm having trouble, rather than it being a necessity. But for me, when I'm playing a game where I kind of need the guide, after a while it feels less like I'm playing a game and more like I'm just reading a map. Like maybe I'm guiding someone on a car journey, or I'm just like looking for somewhere where I'm out for a walk and I'm just looking at the GPS on my phone, and it feels less like something I'm doing for fun and more like something I'm doing as a chore, like as work. But I guess each to his own in that respect. Before I go on to the ending, I should say I do actually have a copy of Breath of the Wild that I got as an early Christmas present that I intend to play in the new year, so maybe my thoughts on Zelda will kind of pick up because I heard a lot of good things about that game. But yes, now I'm done rambling about Zelda, let's go see the results. I always say let's go see the results when it does show you the results on the final screen after the last race, but you know, I get to see the pretty little cup spinning here, and it is quite a nice looking cup. But yeah, I got 55 here because of that third place on Rainbow Road that I didn't get me perfect. But nevertheless, that was a pretty fun cup in my opinion, so I'll see you next time for another DLC cup. See you then.